guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Lauren. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, I bought the newest Natasha Denona palette. This is the My Dream palette. It came out with the, I think, My Dream collection, maybe? I don't know. I was back and forth on this palette, so it might be a little surprising to see that I picked it up, but I kind of knew at some point, you guys know this, like the Natasha Denona universe, I probably would have picked this up at some point, but I didn't know if I was going to pick it up on launch, because looking at pictures, there was something about the photos that seemed a little lackluster, that seemed like, I don't know, but when this went on pre-order on her website, I was like, obviously tempted, obviously something. So I picked it up, and I have to say so far, I do think it's prettier in person. I really do. I think that this palette is so much prettier when you actually have it in your hands, you're actually holding it, you're actually looking at the shades that are in here, seeing the different textures. And so obviously today I'm going to be doing a video on this. I have a little eye look. I'm going to have it split up into different parts. To be honest, I was kind of doing a lot with this video. I was like, I want to show comparisons, I want to show this, I want to build my own palette, and it was just getting too much. Honestly, like, I was just getting so in my head, and I just needed to actually just film this. So I hope you don't mind if it doesn't have a million parts and it doesn't maybe have the exact part you want, but I'm trying to find the balance of, like, not every video needs to be 10 years long. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's not that deep. I want to take a second and just talk about, before we get into swatches and all that though, I want to take a minute and talk about the pictures that were out. Now, looking at this picture, I don't know why, I just felt like this palette looked kind of boring. It had some of those purpley tones, kind of maroon tones, and it reminded me of the retro palette, I think it is. I don't own that one, but I don't know. I was getting those vibes. I was kind of getting some glam vibes as well. Like, those two palettes had a baby, and that's what this is. And so I think in terms of excitement for like this palette on its own, it was a little, I was like, Plus, I wasn't really a fan of the other products that came out. There were some lip products which are fine. I'm just not I like lip products, don't get me wrong, but I definitely don't buy lip products that come out with collections like this. I'm more about like things that are more permanent and all of that. So I wasn't too tempted by any of the lip products. And then the face palette, I was a little baffled as to why there was only one face palette, why she didn't come out with two. We've literally seen her come out with like a face and eye palette in two different shades before. So I don't know why this only had the one. And to me, it just feels like, what is this? Like, I don't know. I didn't like that, honestly. So I just went with the one palette. I did, when I was on the website, like I said, I picked this up off of her website, and usually they're really fast at shipping. It took a little bit though, but I also picked up the Glam palette with it because I've literally gifted this palette multiple times to other people and have not bought it myself. So I was like, you know what? It's time. I almost bought the retro as well, but I didn't. I probably should have. It would have made a great comparison, but I'm sure there are tons of people who have done the comparison because Natasha Denona is very popular, and maybe it's a chance to find a new channel who does reviews and stuff. But anyway, okay, this video is all over the place. What am I doing? This is just a little comparison. I actually feel like the My Dream palette isn't nearly as cool as I thought. There's like a coolest shimmer and a few cooler mattes, but really I feel like it goes more rosy and even has some more like warmth going with like a golden shade here. This is kind of a pinky gold as well. So a little bit different in person, like I said. I'm gonna get into swatches really fast so you guys can see all of these in detail, and then we will talk about it a little bit more. So the My Dream palette is a 15 pan midi palette from her, which retails for $69. Again, there's 15 shades in here, starting off with Blackest Black. Pretty self-explanatory here. This is just a black matte eyeshadow. I actually don't think it's the blackest black. Like, I've had blacker eyeshadows or swatch blacker than this, but you know, black is such a universal color. We'll move on. Next, we have Aspiration. This is a really beautiful plummy brown. It really rides the line of being something purple, but also being something that is like a deep brown. Really beautiful. Love that shade in here. I think it's one of those more unique matte colors. Then we have the shade Serenity. This is more of a satiny metallic. Like, it's not super full-blown shine, but it's also not completely a satin. So beautiful. This is one of those minky bronzes, so it kind of leans cool, kind of leans warm. If you really blend this out, you can see that warmth on the edges, but I feel like if you put this next to a warm color, you really see how cool it actually is as well. Next is the shade Carpe Diem. This is a rosy matte brown, like a rosewood type color. These are some of my faves. You guys know, I mean, I probably have this type of color color duped out a million times in my collection, but I can't deny how beautiful it looks on me. Then we have the shade Babies. This is like a blonde rose gold. Like there's something about it that has a lightness and airiness about it, but it's that rose gold kind of color. And as for finish, it's kind of metallic, but not foiled and not super sparkly either. Just a really nice in between. It looks very glam. Then we have the shade Instinct. This is one of those kind of creamy shades, like it turns into a powder. And this is a very vibrant maroon magenta. Like there's definitely a brightness to this color. It doesn't go nearly as deep as you would maybe expect, and instead goes a little bit brighter in that pink zone. Then next is the shade Thrill. This one's really beautiful. Nice and thin formula. Very like dimethicone kind of, but it has a really nice sheen to it. A little bit of a flip even with like a gold and kind of pink thing going on. One of those ones that looks really like glassy on the eye. I love this type of shadow for a one shadow look or really all over the lid, a little bit of a matte in the crease. Then there's the shade Unity. This is like a peachy brown. It's kind of similar to Carpe Diem, but a little bit more peachy and lighter, but I find them kind of similar. Then there's the shade Risk. This is a satin maroon brown type of color. This is one of the more boring shades in the palette, but I made sure to use it today because I find these kind of satins, especially when they're in deeper tones, can look great all over the lid if you want, but also as a deepening up shade that isn't matte, can look so beautiful and really, again, kind of luxe. Then last in the second row is the shade Invention. This is a flaky shade with really bright gold sparkles and a bit of a warm, almost red base, a very transparent base, but it definitely has that warmth. It kind of reminds me of a shade that's in the bronze palette. Then we have the shade Vision. This is a duochrome, and it's one of those ones that's like maroon to gold to green. I feel like we've seen this before from her. It's a very common, I feel like, multi-chrome, duochrome type of color. Yeah, we've seen it, but it's definitely one of the more neutral looking ones, although I feel like the green shift on this can be quite bright. Then we have the shade Edgy, another one of those cream to powder formulas. This one is similar to Instinct, but more purple, and this one also has a brightness about it. It looks really deep in the pan, but there is a vibrance to this purple. Next we have the shade Spontaneous. This is like the lightest shimmer shade in the palette, and it's a soft gold. It's a little champagne-y, but definitely has warmth to it. A nice metallic, not too sparkly, but also not foiled. Then we have Nurture, which is one of the cooler matte browns. And then we have Familia, which is a warm kind of teddy brown. This actually looks a little warmer in the pan, I find, than actually swatched out, but very pretty. I like those types of shades, but not necessarily super unique. And then here is the palette all swatched out. Really beautiful. I feel like you see kind of how actually neutral this is, as well as how much it leans a bit more red and pink than it does cool toned. I don't know why. The photos initially made me think it was going to be more cool toned than it actually is. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this palette. I have a few palettes that aren't from Natasha Denona that kind of come to mind, and I thought I would just show them. So first, I thought of the new mod because this has those purples. It also has some cooler tones in it, and even a few warm ones. So I felt like color story wise, these seemed a little bit similar. I don't feel like they're exact dupes by any mean, you know, but kind of similar vibes. And then the other one that I had that kind of reminded me of this too, because it's a mix of some of the warm, some of the cool, kind of, you know, is the Lust for Dusk from ColourPop. This doesn't go nearly as deep or as purple, but again, for me, there was just something about the vibe that seemed similar between them. So I thought I would just, I don't know, show them briefly. In case you're wondering. Really though, I feel like this is a mix of just Natasha Denona. It makes sense this is called My Dream Palette, and this palette almost feels like a patchwork of different shades that she's put into other palettes. If you want to see me try to dupe this palette out with other Natasha Denona palettes and singles, let me know. This is the difference though. I thought I would share it with you. This is the one in the My Dream collection, and this is the duochrome from the Triochrome palette that has a very similar flip, but they are different. I feel like this is way more gray based, and this actually shows the green a lot more, like the flip of the green. So they are different. They're not exact, but very similar colors. Like this is just the more vibrant version. But that's kind of it. So if that's like the one shade you need or you're really interested in, I don't know, that's not my favorite, to be honest. Just in general, when it comes to triochromes, multichromes, duochromes, all of my Natasha Denona palettes right now are very mixed up, meshed up, you know, but I do feel like I could get something so similar with things that I already have. Even with that, it doesn't make me mad I picked this one up. I'm just gonna be showing you as I talk. This is a version of the green brown. I genuinely love the Natasha Denona formula and shadows. I think they're so luxe. This is my version of gold right now. How my eye look turned out today, I think looks stunning and gorgeous. It was so simple, so easy. I feel like Natasha Denona shadows really just have so much pigment and yet are still pretty easy to use. I used to think that the mattes were really more difficult to blend, I guess, but I didn't have that at all with my look today. So I don't know if my style is just a little bit different or I've like mastered the formula more, but I really do enjoy them. And I love that this collection is a part of the midi palettes instead of the bigger ones. We just don't need, you know, this size pan from Natasha Denona. We don't need to pay those prices. We don't need that much shadow. Let's be real, like, please. So I really hope she continues to go with the smaller pans, even if she does something bigger, as in a lot of shades like she did with the Metro, which this is what my Metro looks like right now. All over the place, I know. But if she does something like this, I still like this better. It's the same price as the larger palettes, but you get way more shadows, you know? So this is the Biba here. I feel like I definitely could pick a few things from the Biba to create, especially like that warm brown matte could be something. You know, if you like neutrals, you're probably gonna love this palette. Here's some colorful though. This is a reimagined version of the pastel, like my own little rainbow. I have another rainbow too, I think, yeah. My Circo Loco also is rainbowified, a little bit more pastel actually. Like, don't you love this? And this is the thing with the Natasha Denona and why it's one of the brands that I feel like I like investing in, because I can really reimagine the products so much that they have this new life to them. You know, I can sit down and, like, depending on you at home, you can sit down and rearrange them for fall, or when a new palette comes out from a different brand, but you know you love Natasha Denona, or maybe you're not trying to buy, you can rearrange your shadows to create something similar. See if you actually want that palette, see if the shadows are really that different. Are they something new to your collection? Is it something you want to add? Like, I love that. If you're trying to do that, this is the love. Lots of like rosy tones in here, red tones in here. I feel like, you know, the My Dream collection, just to bring it back, this has a little bit more purple, but still neutral. Like, I think it's really pretty, guys. I'm really into it, even if I can dupe it, which I might try to do soon because I think it would be fun. This is a version of the bronze. It might be the actual bronze, but I felt like the shade maybe Alloy. The shade Alloy in here reminded me of the color Invention, but they're definitely different. So that's Alloy, that's Invention. This has more of a flakiness to it. That's the one from the new palette. That's the bronze. So not the same. As soon as you actually try to like pin down a dupe, you can, of course, naturally. And then this is probably my favorite palette. Very similar, actually. It has some definite similar tones with those really deep, like, I think this one's called Aubergine. I think it was from the Blue Brown palette. Even this warm brown. This one goes a little more green and purple, but I feel like this is the exciting version of this palette with a little bit more difference. So like I said, I don't have the Midi Retro to compare it to, so I don't know how similar this would be to that palette, but so far I'm pretty happy with it, and I like that it's not too monochromatic. I forgot these were in my Shop My Stash, so this is what my Zendo looks like. Very summery, I feel like. And this is my Sunset, which also is not anywhere near it. But anyway, again, back to this. There is something about this I really do like. Like the fact that this isn't just a monochromatic palette. I really love that it kind of has some different colors in here, yet feels very fall. I think it's a really appropriate fall release. I was going to talk about before I went off on a tangent, but I really feel like because it's named and is the My Dream Palette collection, I don't know what else we'd expect her to do. Like, it's themed off of what she likes, you know? So I think it definitely captures that. I think it's gonna be so beautiful for fall. I can't wait to keep using it. I did a very simple look today, but I feel like there are a lot of those types of simple looks in here in a lot of different ways. So I feel like as much as you're gonna get something pretty neutral, maybe something rosy, maybe cool, maybe warm, I think you can create a a lot of different stuff within a similar realm, and I like that as well. Instead of something even like the Glam palette, I'm excited to bust into this one, but you know, you're getting the same look. You're getting a variation of the same look over and over and over with this one. Maybe one of these shimmers, you know, suits your skin tone a little bit better, but overall, very similar. And I like that there's a lot more variety that can happen in here and lots of depths, something glam, something everyday, something daytime fall appropriate. For whatever reason, this just feels like sweater weather to me, and so I am excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited for it. The last thing before we get into the look, because I don't even know where this video is going, it's quite all over the place and kind of weird, and I acknowledge that. I spent almost an hour doing like my own kind of dupe version of this, and I like my palette, but I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know what it was. I felt like I didn't know if I wanted to like make an exact dupe of this palette. I didn't know if I wanted to make a similar but amped up version, if I wanted to create my own dream palette based off of this color shade. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, and so it just felt kind of weird, and so I thought I would show you it, and I felt like I stuck to it a little bit. I think it would have been fun to maybe have a few more of the greens in here, especially because that multi-chrome has like a green flip to it. So it would have been really great to have like an olive in here, but then it would have just become like the actual midi retro. Anyway, I'm really excited to play with the palette. I don't think that it's a must-have. I don't think that it's super unique. If you have a lot of Natasha Denona, I could see how you could maybe create this with what you have. I was also thinking about the fact that the Tarte palette, that's new, the Man-Eater After Dark or whatever, the most recent Pat McGrath palette, and this one all kind of have something about them that feels like similar-ish. You know, there's just something, I don't know, they're all different but remind me of one another or something, and I think are really appropriate for the season as well. But let's just get into the eye look, and I'll show you how I did this really simple yet beautiful glam look. I love it. I love it so much. Can't wait to make more looks. I know they're gonna be just as pretty. All right, let's get into this look. I'm going to prime just a little bit with my Sigma eye base. I'm just doing this to even out my eyelids a little, and I'll probably still use some other creams. All right, let me zoom you in just a little bit. I feel like there are a million like beautiful looks I could do with this palette. Lots of like one shadow, two shadow things. Like, I love this paired with any of the matte. Like this with this with maybe even something more red. Like, there's just so many options in here. I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna use this other cream shadow. This one is from About Face, and I'm gonna put that on my lid as well. It's a little taupe, a little cool tone, but I think it'll still work. I'm not gonna lie, I want to do something, I guess, kind of boring, but I feel like this whole palette's kind of boring. Plus, I like doing looks that I would actually do in real life, not just doing something purely for the sake of having something cool to look at on camera. As much as I mean, that can be cool too, I do like showing you like how I would actually wear this shit. So I think first I'm gonna go in with the lightest matte and just kind of buff that in the crease. It's called Unity, and I'm going in with the warm one, not the cooler matte in Nurture. And I'm just blending that into my crease. All right, that blended out so beautifully, like super easy. I didn't have any kick up or anything from the pan. I really want to use this one, Babies. I'm gonna use the Babies shade, I think, on my lid everywhere. It's a really pretty like blonde rose gold kind of color, and I'm just going to be putting that on my lids with my finger. This is like a metallic, but it has a little bit, I don't want to say sparkle, but it's not completely like foiled looking. Very luxe looking shade. I am noticing I have like a little bit, you can see, it's not hard pan exactly, but you can see where I've like rubbed my finger in the shadow. Just thought I would point that out. For my outer corner, I want to deepen it up a little, but I kind of want to go in with the shade Risk. It's a reddish kind of color, but it's not matte. It actually has like a satin to it, and I think that would just be really nice to kind of, I don't know, finish up the look, not go too deep, keep some shimmer. I don't know, very much my style. So I'm taking that on a brush and I'm just going to very gently kind of tap blend. Look, just that. Perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. I feel like I wanted to use Risk also because it's one of those shades that it's kind of like, what the fuck do you do with it? Like, I don't know, that's how I look at some of those shades, or used to, I guess, where it's not a matte. It's not a really beautiful sparkly shimmer. So I'm like, what do you do with that? But those kind of colors are sometimes the ones that really pull a look together. You know, like you need some boring things to kind of do their job too. So you can build balanced and like really beautiful looks. I don't know. Anyway, I'm learning that. This look came together in about 4 seconds. Like literally, if you guys were not here, this would have taken me not even 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes. So simple, so beautiful. Day to night, right? Like this could easily be day to night. I feel like it's sultry and sexy enough for nighttime, but not too much for daytime either. But I easily could take that same shade, put that on the inner corner, start doing like a halo eye, even deepen it up even more. I mean, this is just, again, one look. One look. I really do. I realize how much the Natasha Denona formula is just amazing. It really is amazing. I have quite the collection at this point, and it is so nice to have the ability to move things around. Like, I'm pretty obsessed, honestly. I'm just lining. I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury liner. It's just in a bronze. It's like not a big deal. I'm gonna bring a little bit of the matte we first used just in the outer corner. I don't really feel like there's much of a like brow bone highlight in here. There's this shade here called Spontaneous, but I feel like it's pretty yellow gold. Like I know that's gonna turn up very yellow gold and kind of change the look a lot. And so to me, that's just kind of its own thing. So I would pull in my own highlighter, which I do a lot. So I don't mind when palettes don't have that shade because it becomes very redundant when you buy a lot of palettes. And I don't mind getting like extra use out of a highlighter. So of course, and what feels like, as always, at least recently, Pat McGrath Lunar Allure, I believe it is. And I'm just gonna put that on my brow bone. I could do the inner corner too, but do I want something yellow? I just don't always love when it's too yellow, but maybe, yeah, I'm gonna hate it. I know I'm gonna hate it. Okay, no, I'm gonna just do my highlighter. I'm sorry. I was like, maybe I'll use one more shadow, but I just feel like I would not normally, maybe on an off chance or that day I felt like it. That's a little different, but definitely not for every day for me. I'm more a neutral sparkle or shine on the inner corner and brow bone. Okay, I really love the way this looks. I'm gonna put some mascara on and then we'll just see if I wanna do anything else. I really like it. All right, so here is the look. Simple, easy, kind of my everyday, honestly. I really love it. I think it looks so glam, expensive, chic, like a lot of the stuff I like right now. I'm sure it's no surprise. I'm sure it's no surprise. And I love the like kind of subtle peachy tones going on, like kind of rose gold. I don't know why it looks, I have like 2 little texture dots there. I feel like they're messing up my blend. Anyway, I really like it so far. I'm so excited though, because like I said, this is just one look. And I could do a couple of, I really hate doing multiple eye looks in one day because it really fucks up my eyes, honestly. So, but I'm gonna obviously keep using this. I can't wait to just try different shades. I really want to use that all over for something a little bit darker. I love this. I love that too for fall, like those two. So many good 2 shadow looks. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the little demo. All right, and other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I would love to know your thoughts on this palette. Are you picking it up? What do you guys think about it? Do you think it's one of those ones that's like prettier in person or what? I mean, I don't feel like this is that different for Natasha Denona. There's a part of it that just feels like, yes, this is Natasha Denona. We've seen this before, but I kind of like that all this is in one palette and it's not following such a specific color scheme. You know what I mean? Like it's not only kind of monochromatic. I think it's kind of fun that you can get a bit more variety, I guess, within similar tones, if that even makes sense. But let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Bye.